Cause you already know who dropped some fire shit. Nick, my boy Nick. He dropped some crazy shit. Where's it at? 1.3 million one day. He's really that man. He's really him. Now we about to see how this shit goes. Is it gonna get scary? Is it gonna get spooky? Probably. 33 minutes, lock in. Hold me tight and I'll hold you. Facts. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this shit about to get scary. I'm gonna go on mute though. This shit better get spooky. Let me turn it up, son.
It was March 3rd, 1989, in Berkeley County, South
Make sure I can hear everything. Make sure I hear all that.
12-year-old Justin Turner leaves his home in the early morning,
Turn it
heading
up
in the
some.
direction of his bus stop, where he
Okay,
was set
here
to
we
meet
go.
his neighbors. His stepmother, Megan Turner, who usually
we go.
accompanied him, had been busy in the shower, while his father, Victor Turner, was off at work, leaving Justin to make this short walk alone. Later on, Megan would wait for the same bus to arrive at the end of the day, only when it did, Justin never got off. In fact, according to the bus driver and the neighbors, he never even made it on the bus in the first place. That night,
what?
Justin Turner was reported missing, and the search
Never
to find
made it
him
on a
was
bus in the
underway
first place.
immediately.
Excuse me?
It was the third day of the search, March 5th, 1989, that yielded its biggest turnout, with volunteers from the community
1989?
banding together with law enforcement to help find the young boy, with the group being accompanied by a camera crew from the local Channel 2 station, as everyone shared the same hope that the child would finally be found. And so they were off, with many searchers directing their focus on the nearby woods, while others, including Justin's own family, would search closer to the property as well as its neighboring land. This included rummaging around various sheds and piles of trash, as they were made to leave no stone unturned that day, with everyone geared up for a long, grueling day of searching. Though in the end, all they needed was a few minutes.
My son's in there.
Nathan, that's
No
Hammer.
camera, no camera. Where is he at? Where is he at? In there.
With the cameras rolling,
Oh my
it was at the
gosh.
moment that Victor Turner discovered his own son, stuffed
Oh.
inside an old cabinet in his own camper, with his reaction making one thing very apparent.
Oh my god.
Justin was no longer alive. The
R.I.P.,
footage is
bro.
devastating and made worse upon the discovery that not only was Justin
R.I.P.
dead, but he had been brutally assaulted and murdered by strangulation.
Oh
But
my
there was
god.
something even more unsettling about this footage. The fact that that very camper had already been searched in the days prior, and likely numerous times. Yet somehow Justin's body was never found, meaning that whoever the killer was may have hidden him there days after the disappearance.
The latest word
Some
about the
sick,
boy's
twisted ass
grim
shit,
fate
bro.
has really shaken up this Monk's Corner neighborhood.
They were clearly dealing with an incredibly dangerous and deranged individual, and tracking down whoever was responsible became law enforcement in the area's top priority. Though this certainly didn't mean that results were guaranteed, as there was a severe lack of physical evidence found on the scene, making it incredibly difficult to find any definitive information as to who might have done this. And despite their best efforts,
3, 2, 1, Happy New Year!
a full year passed,
It's 1991.
and then 2,
A year?
and then 3,
Are you serious? These niggas never tried to figure out
and a
what
full
the fuck
decade passed,
who did
then
this?
2, and then 3.
Decade?
From the start, Justin Turner's case was ice cold.
And no one ever
And in
said
the
shit.
end, it seemed clear that it would remain this way forever. Until
Breaking news this afternoon out of Berkeley County, as the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office has made 2 arrests in the Justin Turner case.
The Berkeley County Sheriff's Office confirms that yesterday they arrested Justin's father, Victor Lee Turner, and his
The father, nigga? You telling me this whole time it's been the father? You know, it's some sick, twisted ass, nasty ass shit. It always is the motherfuckers who be so devastated. Oh, you would never think. Oh, he's always such a... Nah, man.
stepmother,
They be the most
Megan
twisted,
Renee
fucked
Turner,
up
in the upstate,
motherfuckers.
both charged with murder.
35
Disgusting.
long years after Justin Turner's body was
35
discovered,
years after this shit, bro.
it would be the very man who found him that was charged for his murder, along with his wife and Justin's stepmother.
What the fuck?
This supposedly came as a result of improved forensic technology, as well
Conspired
as
to
other
do this
information that
shit.
had previously been unreported.
It was the
Like
father,
one
bro.
account where
The
stepmother
fucking
Megan had been
father.
overheard talking about how she and Justin had gotten into a fight that very morning, with the woman eventually laughing about it and saying, "But I won that fight." From the very beginning, Megan was always considered a suspect
What?
in this case. In fact, she had even already been arrested for his death at one point in 1990, but was swiftly
In 1990, and I let the bit go for another
released on
35 years.
account of a lack of physical evidence. And this lack of physical evidence is still a factor to this day,
35
as the recent
years?
arrest of this couple hinged mainly on circumstantial evidence, with one of the key pieces being that news footage. Investigators pointed out a number of strange moments in Victor's behaviors and actions that day when they went back and reviewed the recording, with the most glaring being that he had found his son
And he knew exactly where he was. It's probably what it was.
literally seconds into the search,
Yep, found him instantly.
entering that camper and going right for the drawer that he was hidden in, almost as if he knew where to look. And
See,
given that he owned the property and he owned the camper, it makes more sense as to how Justin's body could have seemingly just appeared there.
some people don't deserve to have children, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
As he
Some
and
people
his
out there
wife were
really
the
do
ones who
not
had
need
the
to have
easiest
children.
access to it.
Do not deserve
On
to have
top of
children.
this, upon finding Justin, Victor didn't
Sickening.
rush in to check on his condition, and he seemed to just assume he was dead despite only getting a quick glance. He didn't rush to hold him, he didn't yell out to him, he just backed away and told those around him that he had found his son. Shortly after, it's
Like,
alleged
literally,
that Victor
like-
asked the detective on the scene what would happen if a family member had done this, with this question supposedly being posed before it was even revealed that Justin had been murdered.
Bro, like what?
The
You're
sheriff on the
asking
case
those type
later
of
proclaimed
questions?
about the footage.
That ain't nothing but
Look at
red,
it.
red,
Look at the
red
action.
flags.
Look
And
at
y'all
the
couldn't have
body
caught this
language.
shit 30 years ago,
I'll
nigga.
let the
Y'all could have caught this shit 30 years ago.
people draw their own conclusion. On top of this, the same sheriff also recalled that right after the body was found, Victor and Megan basically refused to ever speak to detectives again, and they never once called in to check on the case for the entire 35 years.
For the entire 35 years, they were like, shit, nigga, we finna be scot-free all these.
With the sheriff saying,
Psych,
"Nobody
boy,
that I'm
they
aware
found
of
out
from
one
any
way
of
or
the
another,
family has
nigga.
ever heard from them again. I never got one phone call. Not one phone call from his daddy or his stepmother. What are y'all doing about my son's death? Not one. What does that tell you?" Watching the moments that Victor
Yeah,
found
okay,
his son's
nigga.
body, now knowing the context,
This is some
disturbing
sick
doesn't
shit,
even
bro.
begin to describe it. And the fact that it took 35 years for this couple to finally be placed behind bars is baffling.
Fuck both of these motherfuckers.
But things were about to get
Six
a whole lot more
savages.
shocking.
How can it get any worse,
In our
bro?
hearing, we requested that the charges against
It gets worse.
Megan and Vic be dismissed.
What did you just say, nigga?
We were very fortunate that the charges against Megan and Vic be dismissed. We were very fortunate
dismissed.
today that we got a copy of the
Dismissed.
order from the judge dismissing the charges against both Megan and Vic.
Dismiss.
As on June 7th, 2024, months after their arrest,
Last
Victor
year.
and Megan were released from prison, and all charges against them
Last
were dropped,
year?
with the judge citing a lack of any new conclusive physical evidence, as well as the fact that nearly 20 people who were initially involved in the case, including witnesses and those who initially provided key testimony, had since perished, with the judge believing that it was now impossible to get the full story.
What?
On top of this, it was also discovered soon after the arrest. A notorious serial killer just so happened to be in the area on the day of Justin's murder.
Oh
His name was
my
Richard
gosh,
Evans, and though
bro.
it's unknown how many victims he truly has,
Y'all
it
ain't
appears
trying
that
to
at
sit
least
here
4
and set
kidnappings
this
and
up and
3 slayings
brush
have
up
been
under the rug
attributed
as another
with some of these
victim of
victims
somebody
being
else that
taken in
we
broad
never was,
daylight
bro.
when they were getting off the bus. Richard has long since passed away, and there's really no verifiable links to prove his involvement with this crime, with this potentially being just a strange coincidence, as it is worth noting that it seems like the rest of Justin's family still believe that Victor and Megan had killed him.
Oh,
All
he.
of this left
Oh,
the
they
case in a
did it.
position
nigga.
that the judge felt
They did
was
it.
unsolvable, leaving the case without conclusion and without justice. Meaning that in this footage, we may
It
never
is 2025. These niggas are walking scot free. Oh, for some shit that they did 30 something 5 years ago, bruh. Still walking scot free. Was in that bitch. And then they were like, let's just dismiss it. Let's just dismiss the fact that you took the very own life that you brought into the world. Yeah, okay.
ever truly know if Victor had just discovered
Stupid
his
ass
son,
shit, bro. This stupid ass government,
or
these stupid
his
ass laws, and this twisted, corrupt ass government. This twisted FBI. I see you and I hear you, and I know those birds are fake. I know pictures are fake. I know they're fake. Fuck it. FBI will not get me, nigga. Fuck out of her. We gonna expose you first. Whole army gonna get you bum niggas.
Recently, I discovered something truly distressing. I was being double charged for Netflix.
Is this an
Turns out
ad?
that I was paying for an things using for the take part in.
My boy tried to slap that motherfucker in there. Stop it.
George and his friend, the man with the yellow hat, were going on a camping trip. This is a
I'm not ready for this, bro.
Camp George.
These are my favorite.
George,
George, come on. What they got to do with what's this got to do with Curious George, bro? Come on, bro.
Thin trail of smoke.
I love Curious George.
There seems to be something innately interesting about survival shows. For
Uh-oh.
decades, audiences have been enamored by depictions of people pushing themselves.
What's
to
his
the
name?
limit
Bear
in order to
Grylls
survive
faking his
harsh
shit?
and almost inhumane conditions. Most notably, and one of the more tame examples, is Survivor, which no doubt popularized the genre, as it isn't just a staple of
classic,
television in the
actually.
US, but all the other countries that have since created their own versions of the show.
Like Lost.
In France, the show is called Koh Lanta and was created back in 2001 by the company Adventureline Productions, or ALP for short. And by the year 2015, the show was one of the most popular in its market, having seen 13 successful seasons. And so, riding the high of this impressive feat, ALP decided to try their hand at a new show, one that was far more daring.
Hur fasen ska detta gå?
What you talking about? Dropped. I've never heard of this shit. Probably a good reason why. How the fuck the niggas could try to sit here and do some Roblox shit? How the fuck you gonna toss the niggas into a goddamn into the goddamn new map update with no map, with no resources, no minis, no shields, no pots, no nothing, no nothing? What?
The show was called Dropped and would follow two teams of 4 contestants who would be blindfolded and dropped into an undisclosed location each week via helicopter, with each team having the same mission: make it to civilization, charge a phone, and make a rescue call. And the first team to do so would win, while the losing party would have to vote one member off. It was a fairly interesting idea, but it also already had a proof of concept, as there was actually an identical show being made in Sweden at the time that was already well received. Though Dropped wanted to turn up the interest even more, and that's exactly what they did when they announced that the cast would be composed solely of famous athletes, most of whom turned out to be French Olympians who were already
Y'all sit here and set up the fucking pro athletes, bro.
well below
Why did these athletes think, oh, let me just sign myself up for the most dangerous fucking shit and ruin probably the rest of my fucking
the
career?
country.
Yeah.
It had all the
Pretty
makings of a
smart,
certain
right?
success.
Pretty fucking smart.
Though in the end, this show would
Pretty
never
smart.
actually make it to television, with the showrunners proclaiming that the program would not see the light of day. And this was all thanks to the events of March 9th, 2015.
Oh shit. 2015, bro.
It was the start of their second episode. The first had seen the elimination of professional footballer Sylvian Wiltord after his team failed to make it out of the wilderness first, which left 7 contestants who were now ready for round 2. The day's shoot began in La Rioja, Argentina, with the cast being blindfolded in preparation to be loaded up into their helicopters
Right.
and dropped at their next location. Olympic gold medal swimmer Alan Bernard was one of the first to step onto the craft, but was quickly told to exit, as his team had been the first to be dropped in the last episode, meaning that to make it fair, it was time for the other group to go first, thus giving them slightly more time. And so he stepped off the craft and waited with his group, as the other team
Interesting.
instead loaded in.
I just wouldn't do this shit, bro.
There were 2 helicopters on the scene.
Ever.
One was set to carry 3 contestants: Florence Atu, Samuel Mouffet,
Oh my god.
and Alexis Vastine,
These are dead ass Olympians, gang.
along with a crew member and 1 pilot.
Dead ass.
Meanwhile, the other craft was strictly for the crew, holding 4 production workers as well as a single pilot, with Alan Bernard and his group staying on the ground with their backs turned to the craft, as they eagerly anticipated the return of those helicopters to then take them.
Oh my
And so with their
gosh.
blindfolds on in the pitch darkness, the team listened as they heard the sounds of the crew cheering on a successful takeoff, though the cheering would be cut short by an awful sound,
Oh no.
the sound of crushing metal.
Oh my god. How did they crash instantly, bruh? Oh my god. Nigga, this shit just started and y'all already. What the fuck? Oh
The
my
aftermath was
God.
recorded on the cell phone of someone standing nearby, showing us a
Oh,
large group
damn.
of people rushing towards a massive plume of smoke. Where they would find the remains of one of the aircrafts, mangled and reduced to an unrecognizable mass of steel, with none of the contestants being able to make sense of what had just happened. It's very possible that the incident itself was captured by the production's own cameras. However, this footage has never and likely will never be released. Though coincidentally, they weren't the only ones recording. As someone watching nearby just so happened to be filming the takeoff of these two crafts, showing us the reality of what had just transpired.
What the fuck? Why did they just
Just
run
as the two
into each
aircrafts
other?
had taken to the sky, the second and lowest helicopter began rapidly ascending, with the pilot seemingly failing to realize that the other craft was directly above them, causing the two to
I'm like,
collide
what is he doing?
and
Are
then
you
plummet to the
stupid?
ground below.
Who fucking taught you
In
how
the
to fly,
end, 10
nigga?
people went into the sky, and none made it down alive.
Oh my gosh, dude. 10 of y'all took off in
The
the
footage
sky,
makes
bro,
little
and
sense
no
even
one
today.
made it out of
The weather
there.
was perfect, the crafts were some of the best in the world, and both of the pilots not
R.I.P.,
only had
bro.
30 plus years of flight
Something was going on there.
experience,
This
but they
doesn't
were
even
both
sound
flight
right.
instructors themselves. Not
10
to mention
people
that the
gone
show's security
in
coordinator,
2
who was in charge of
aircrafts?
facilitating the takeoff,
No.
had actually worked on the Swedish version of the
I don't
show
trust
and
this.
had ample experience in this exact situation. And yet, this is how it ended. It was eventually determined that the higher helicopter was likely flying out of visual contact from the lower helicopter, and that the pilot of the ascending chopper likely just didn't realize how close they were, with reports also indicating that he may have been distracted by the actual filming process, something we've tragically seen before.
We're gonna pull out. We don't know what has just happened right there.
And because of this, it appeared that at least some pilot error was to blame. But it was ALP that was found largely responsible, with alleged serious safety oversights being discovered later on, with it appearing that this crash was the result of multiple small factors coming together to form one catastrophic accident. After the incident, Dropped was swiftly cancelled, while the team that had so narrowly avoided getting on that flight and in turn likely having perished themselves were left in complete and utter shock, forever changed by the accident. With Alan Bernard, the man that's said to have been physically on that doomed craft for a split second, later recounting that there was a life before and after Dropped, because you don't come out of such an accident unscathed. In the end, AOP was indicted on manslaughter charges and found to be an inexcusable fault
Oh
for the
my
disaster,
gosh.
though it doesn't really
You gotta
seem
get
like
them
they
for
faced any
everything.
sort of
Sue
actual
these
legal
niggas down for
punishment,
everything.
with the company continuing their
Took
work
down
on
10
other
people,
programs to
bro.
this day.
Could still be
But
here
one thing that I
today,
was
bro.
surprised to find in my
This is
research is
sad.
that AOP is actually no stranger to the world of disturbing television moments. In fact, they had experienced one just a single year before this accident.
So they're continuing to just sit here and film, and if people pass, they don't care, and they continue like this is Squid Games or some shit. What the fuck?
As
This
mentioned
shit is
previously,
fucked up,
AOP
bro.
was already quite versed in the world of survival television, as
Nah,
they
this
had run
shit's
13
fucked up,
successful
bro.
seasons of Koh Lanta.
This company needs to
Though what I
burn,
failed
bro.
to mention is
Dead
that
ass.
the company had actually produced 14 seasons, or at least they attempted to. It
Huh?
was season 13, during the very first day of filming, when contestant Jara Baban collapsed after the show's second challenge, with the show continuing to film as if nothing happened.
What?
Anonymous reports from the set claim that once on the ground, it took the medical team nearly 5 minutes before intervening, as to not interrupt their recording, and once they eventually did tend to him, he became more alert and complained of having severe cramps. But the show's primary
5
doctor,
minutes, they still
Terry
didn't
Costa,
care.
didn't believe that his ailments required an emergency airlift, as this would have cost the production company far too much money, especially on the first day of filming. Instead, Jerome was
Niggas is over
diagnosed with
here
dehydration.
worried about cutting costs, bruh. Are you serious? These niggas, yo, listen, bro. These people need to be careful on what they sign up for. You're not gonna sign up for some shit that people, they don't give a fuck if you die or not, nigga. Then I don't think you need to be signing up with them. You need to start reading the fine fucking print of the terms of service before you fucking say, all right, bet. Let me just go and jump in this helicopter and just drop me off in the fucking middle of nowhere where I could literally get no help and die. Like, Bro, what are y'all thinking of even trying to go on this shit, bro?
Hydration, and was brought back to their makeshift infirmary, where he would lay for nearly 2 full hours until he was finally taken away by a proper medical team. On his way off the island, Jarrah Bobbin would pass away from cardiac arrest at the age of just 25.
Bro, he was
Cardiac
20
arrest
fucking
was
5, bro.
completely missed by the show's doctors.
How do you miss cardiac arrest?
The
He
testimony
doesn't need
from
to be airlifted. Nigga,
those
he's
on the
in
scene
cardiac
painted
arrest.
ALP
What the
and
fuck
Dr.
are you
Costa
talking about?
in an extremely negative
What?
light, as their inability to act quickly and recognize the ailments of Baban likely contributed to the young man losing his life, with some claiming that the doctor and the showrunners were far more interested in keeping the production running smoothly than actually caring for the young man. And though ALP denied any wrongdoing, the season would essentially be cancelled right there on the spot. But disturbingly, despite the filming lasting only 1 day, Baban's death wasn't the only tragedy to occur as a result. Due to intense public ridicule, Dr. Terry Costa
And then he couldn't handle it because you were the reason why he didn't make it, buddy. I mean, it was eating him up. It was eating him up. What do you think? How do you think people are gonna feel when they find out that you're the reason that that person that passed away? If you could have been the reason to stop it. Excuse me. How do you think people are gonna feel, bro? How do you think they're gonna respond back when you could have saved a life?
would end his life just
And so
days
he
later,
took his. He couldn't
stating
handle
that
the
all
pressure.
the negative news reports about him were wrong and that they had sullied his good name, writing in a final note, "I'm sure that I treated Jarrah in a respectable manner, as a patient and not as a contestant," adding, "having to reconstruct this destroyed reputation would be unbearable," before ending his letter with a message to
A
those on the
coward.
shoot that had
Coward,
spoken
by the
out
way.
against him.
Coward,
The
by the
author
way.
of the anonymous comments about the circumstances of Jarrah Baban's death and those who spread them will have to face their conscience.
Yeah, okay, nigga. Blame it on everybody else. Blame it on everybody else, but nigga, you was the one who was on the scene attending to that, nigga. And the reason that he's not here is because of you. So yeah, don't try to sit here and leave a mark.
In the end, Kolata
A statement
would return a year
that
later
no one's gonna
and has
give a
been going
fuck about.
strong ever since, as ALP did not appear to face any serious repercussions for the incidents that transpired under their watch.
Nigga, you said what?
In the end, Kolata would return a year later and has been going strong ever since, as ALP did not appear to face any serious repercussions.
Been
for the
going
incidents
strong
that
ever
transpired
since.
under their watch, with their fault in both cases being debated to this day.
These niggas are still making shit today. Is anybody still in those shows? Are y'all stupid? What's wrong with y'all? Who's still going to these and being in these? Who is giving this company business? Who's giving this company business?
Emergência 911, a vida como ela é na tela do SBT.
It's July 5th, 1993, in downtown Sao Paulo, Brazil. A doorman working at a busy office building looks up to the sky and notices a woman sitting on top of the structure, her legs dangling 7 stories above the pavement below, one wrong move away from certain death. Precisely what she wanted. The man calls the police immediately, though surprisingly, they wouldn't be the
gosh.
first on the scene, and instead, they were beaten by a camera crew.
Terminando o verão, né?
The group is from the show Aqui Agora, a news program from the network SBT that had become notorious for their sensationalized and shocking stories. In their history, they had captured live footage of police riots.
Now I'm guessing this is one of those because you know how that shit be, and it's usually those fucking these little companies like this who are hungry for that. They're hungry for views. They're hungry for the eyes. They're hungry for people to grab onto their shit and see their stories first. They want to be the hottest shit going on. Like, that's what it's about, bro. And to this day, there's other it's just different aspects of it now. They just want the hottest, flashiest thing that's going on. I'm telling you, bro. People are
Kidnappings.
People
and
are
even
fucking crazy,
murders,
bro.
which they would
They're
then
insane.
broadcast on air as part of their show. In this unfolding situation,
This is a broadcasting
was
company.
the
We just
context
saw
of
what the other broadcasting company did. 10, actually 12 people gone from that one fucking 12 people gone from one company, and they're still going to this day. Sick of it's some sick shit.
Os bombeiros chegaram junto conosco. O que é? O que é um suicídio? Onde? Nós vimos junto. Um bombeiro olhou pra cima, tava lá a menina, sentada no parapeito. E eu tomei um susto. A câmera olhou também, nós tomamos um susto.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up right there.
Her
Okay.
name was Daniele Alves.
Y'all are catching
and
this
at
shit
the
on
age of just
live?
16, she had entered that office building and climbed up to its roof with the hopes of ending her life.
16.
And minutes after Aki
Like
Agora
you're 16
arrived,
thinking of
she
doing
did
stuff
just
like
that.
Why?
As their cameras captured it all.
Oh my God. Why would you record that shit? Y'all could have saved her, like, you know, niggas is recording even back then instead of saving. Now niggas is quick to record instead of trying to help people.
Later that
This is
night, that footage would
disgusting.
be packaged together into a roughly 10-minute segment, which the network promoted heavily throughout the day, hyping it up to be one of their most shocking episodes ever. And supposedly it was, as
I
though
mean,
it appears
duh.
that the full segment is currently
The
lost.
fuck is wrong
the
with
footage
this
of
shit?
Daniele's fall was said to have been displayed almost entirely in full, showing the moments just before and just after she had landed, where she was said to be still somewhat alive.
Like,
It was more
what,
than
bro?
shocking,
Why are you
and
showing that
left
type of
viewers
footage? Why are
outraged
you
that something
recording
of
that
this
shit?
nature could be shown on TV. But while showing the footage proved highly controversial enough, it was the context surrounding the footage that made it even more depraved. As mentioned previously, police were called to the scene to assist in efforts to help Daniele Alves. Yet the first to arrive was that Aki Agora news crew. And this wasn't a coincidence. They were all about capturing events as they unfolded. And in order to be the first on the scene, they actually tapped into the police scanners, monitoring all of the calls and information being passed through officers in order to get leads on potential stories. Which is how they got word of this incident, hearing the calls and speeding over as quickly as possible. It wasn't illegal per se, but it surely wasn't ethical either. And this was only the start. After Daniele jumped, the crew that had filmed her had already captured their dramatic footage for the day. And as the officers and medical personnel dealt with the aftermath, the crew decided to turn their focus to the next element of their story: Daniele's parents. They packed
you
up their
mean?
equipment right away and headed.
So y'all are gonna sit here and be like, oh, let's move from the most shocking thing and let's take it to the heart of the whole thing. Let's take it to the parents. What are they gonna think about it? Hey man, we just caught your child taking themselves in GTA all on camera. We got the close-ups, we got 4K quality, we got the playbacks, the reload speeds, we got normal, we got 2.5, 2x speed, all of that. Now let's ask you wanna see? Like, what is wrong with people, bro?
Straight for the home of Daniele's mother and father.
Who said y'all could come over to the parents' house? Who said I want you to come tell me that this shit is going
With
on?
it being unclear how they even got that address in the first place. And there, they once again had beaten the police, who were still back at the scene trying to piece everything together. Though rather than waiting for them,
Like, these niggas are moving like the feds, but y'all not the feds. Quit trying to take shit into your own hands.
the crew instead decided to take the lead.
What's
going
wrong
up
with
to the
these
door,
niggas?
ringing the doorbell, and telling Daniele's parents that their daughter had just passed away.
Like, nigga, y'all are not the feds, bro. Y'all running up and telling these people, and then like, here you go. You don't believe us? Here's the footage. Like, sick, twisted ass
Crew
shit
then
is this.
supposedly took the
All
parents
this
to
just
the
for a
police station,
story, bro.
consoling them all while their cameras kept rolling.
Of
As
course.
the crying parents made for the
Y'all are
perfect
doing this on
footage for
camera.
their segment.
Of course, all for the cameras.
Exploitative is
Good
the only word
content.
for it. But what they did next, well, that was something far more evil. Having dropped the parents off at the police station, the crew then got to work creating their segment for the night. And as part of it, they needed to find a reason as to why Daniele did this. They first
So y'all niggas is making up stories. So first of all, y'all, I don't even got nothing else to say, bro. I got nothing else to say. The world is full of evil people. It always has been, probably always will. The good will know what always outshine the bad. It may look like it's nothing but bad, and it's all we see in the beginning of the year. That's how they always try to do. It's fear mongering. It's what the media does. It's on some stupid shit. Don't believe none of that bullshit, bro. Don't consume yourself into the bullshit, into the pressures of the shit that you see, bro. That negativity shit, bro, is always around the world, bro. But you can make that shit change if you just do something, one positive thing, nigga. You can change a whole lot of shit, bro. Like a whole lot of shit, bro. This right here, I don't even got no words to say. This is just sad. It's sickening. How you gonna sit here and make up some bullshit? How you gonna make up out of thin air for no reason? The reason is because they want a shocking story, catching shock value. Oh, we gotta get it. Bro, it's the same shit in 2025, bro. It's the same shit. Tabloids still doing the same. It's sad, bro. This is sickening. Sad.
theorized that
Truly
this
sad.
was likely due to a drug addiction, which had somehow spiraled and led to her jumping. But then they decided that that just wasn't dramatic enough, and they instead shifted to a different story.
Wasn't dramatic enough. You see what I'm saying? they decided that that story that they made up wasn't dramatic enough. So let's make up another one on these people who just lost their daughter, who y'all just recorded on live footage and just try to sit here
One that they reported to all of their viewers
and showed it
as
to
a
the whole
matter of
world
fact.
and showed
They reported that Danielle Alves had ended her own life because of her abusive parents, placing the entire
making up some fake ass shit for no reason. And now these people are about to sit here and put up in jail. And then y'all got another story on top. Like, what
blame
the
on the family that they had just supposedly helped.
You're just making
There
up
was
shit,
one
bro.
massive issue with this. It wasn't even true. The claim appears to have been quite literally based on nothing. It has no verifiable backing and seems to have been a complete guess. In fact, just days later, Daniele's best friend spoke out and said that Daniele had done this because of a broken heart, not because of drugs or any sort of abuse. It's sickening.
It's disgusting, bro.
So little
And as her
about
best
Daniele's
friend
own
is that can
story
sit here and
that
actually
they
tell the
seemingly
fucking
just
truth
made
of why
up
her
their
friend
own.
is gone,
And
bro.
imagine for a
Because
moment
of some
being those
company
parents
is trying to
going
make up
about your day
lies
when a
about the
TV crew
fucking
comes to your
parents.
house and tells you that your daughter is dead. And despite consoling you, those same people then broadcast your daughter's death for the whole world to see.
And your reaction to that.
blame you for
And
it.
say it's your fault.
Naturally, this didn't go without repercussions for Akiagara, who had crossed the line in the most soulless way possible. And the effects were swift and powerful, as the rating soared 33%, making it more popular than ever before. The network would end up being sued by Daniele's family, who was eventually awarded $1 million as a result. But realistically, no amount of
What the fuck is $1 million gonna fucking do for me? Stupid bitch.
money could ever be enough, as the show's actions permanently affected that family and destroyed their grieving process in a way that I can't even wrap my mind around. But this did little to slow down Akiagara, as they remained on the air for 4 more long years, during which they leaned even more into these unfolding crime stories, leading to them witnessing numerous other deaths, and even being taken hostage themselves on multiple occasions. And the more I researched this topic, the more insane the segments I found became.
These niggas, might be one of the most disturbing, but like the most upfront live action POV of all this shit is crazy to
With
me.
by far the worst being an old episode where they recorded a man who was threatening to jump off a bridge.
Come on, see.
It was a very similar
I don't
situation
need to see that, bro.
Daniele, though this time the crew was much closer.
Got you.
So close,
I
in fact,
didn't want to see
that the
this.
host actually moved in and started interviewing the man as he was hanging there.
Nigga, are you serious?
All the while, they kept cutting back and forth to another camera angle below the bridge, ready to capture his fall.
These
at any
niggas are
moment.
capturing everything
Now,
they
thankfully,
can.
This person was pulled to safety, but even as he was being taken away, the presenter still kept trying to interview him in one of the most surreal scenes that I've ever seen in my life.
Get
With
your
this
hand
situation
off his
perfectly
shoulder,
encapsulating
nigga.
this show.
Not even trying to.
Akiagara would continue on air until the year 1997, when one day the show was pulled due to its declining ratings, and in its place, the network would instead begin airing The Disney Club.
The what club? The niggas want to switch over to the Disney shit now, really? Y'all switched over to Disney Club.
What do you think would happen?
After that bullshit y'all just did.
It was an exciting day for the crew of the
The
upcoming
fuck
movie
kinda
Midnight
shit?
Rider, the Greg Allman story.
Oh, I know
Years
about
had been
Midnight
spent
Rider.
planning and scripting for this biographical film about Greg Allman of the Allman Brothers. And this day, February 20th, 2016, would be the day that they would finally start filming. It was nothing more than a camera test, a day in which the crew would practice filming, as well as getting acquainted to their equipment and new co-workers. But for the group of 20, the excitement in the air was palpable, as they were given access to a stunning piece of land in Nahunta, Georgia. So stunning, in fact, that the film's director, Randall Miller, just couldn't wait to begin the actual process of filming. Slicing through the property was an old railroad that had crossed over a scenic bridge raised high above the Altamaha River, the perfect location for a shot that Miller had been envisioning. It was set to be a dream sequence where Allman's character would wake up on a hospital bed in the middle of the tracks and see a vision of his brother, and it was a shot that Miller just had to have. However, there was one major issue.
The train's
The crew
coming.
was given permission to film on the property, but not the actual railway, as this was owned by a separate
think I
company
know
named
about this one, bro.
CSX. And when Miller asked them for permission to film the shot, he was denied multiple times.
Because, bro,
as these tracks were
you don't need
still
to be
very
on that
active,
shit, bro.
making it far too
So
dangerous.
then niggas decided to say,
But
hey, you
being
know
on
what? Let's get the shot
location
for
and
real.
seeing that bridge,
And then,
Miller couldn't help himself. And so he directed his crew
Why,
to set
bro?
up the scene anyway,
Why?
believing that they could quickly steal a shot without anyone noticing.
Quickly
Miller had
steal a
supposedly done
shot.
his research too, and discovered that only 2 trains were set to roll through the area that day, and he knew the general intervals in which they were supposed to pass. Based on this, he figured that those trains would
All right, nigga. So that means basically all of this shit comes back and ties up to you. because you said you know everything and you know how it's gonna go down and you know how it's gonna you know the transits and you know the exits and you know the all right, bet you know what cargo's coming through, bet. Yeah, listen, why is your story in this video then?
And so
Bet.
they quickly set
Let's see,
everything up,
let's see, nigga, let's see
rolling
what
out a
happens in
metal
this video.
hospital bed and placing it towards the center of the bridge, with Miller assuring his crew that this was in fact safe and that they had nothing to worry about. As the camera
I'm not
began
gonna
to
lie.
roll,
The only thing you can do and the fastest thing you can do is jump up out that bed, fuck everything on that set, and just run to the side of the shit as fast as you can. Run to the side as fast as you can. Get out of there and run to the side as fast as you can before something comes burling through, bro.
Minutes later, the bed began to shake, and the silence around them was shattered by the sound of a whistle.
And once you hear that, run. That means move. That means move. That means, okay, hold
Before
on.
them was an
Hold
unexpected
on.
third train.
No,
heading
no.
straight
It's
for the
hurry
bridge
up
that the
and get
entire
it
crew was
out of
now
there.
on. Miller had gotten the schedule wrong.
Oh. Might be. Hello?
At this point, the crew was filming a considerable distance into the
Said I
bridge.
disconnected,
The
but
shortest and
we're good. Are we back? We're good?
really only
Don't know
route
what
to
that dip
safety
was.
to go towards
Random.
the oncoming train.
I hope it doesn't
And
happen
so that's
again.
precisely the route they took. And as they did so, there was little panic within the group, as rather than rushing to safety, they all seemed more focused on retrieving their equipment, believing that they had more than enough time to salvage everything.
Bro,
As
y'all
after
don't
all,
got
losing
time,
this
nigga.
expensive equipment on day
Y'all
one
don't got time
would
to
have
get
been
that shit,
devastating
bro.
for the production. They likely had no idea that from the sound of that first whistle, they had just 60 seconds until the train would cross that
Y'all niggas had a minute. 1 minute.
bridge, whether they were off it or not. As they began to realize just how quickly the train was approaching, their movements became more hurried, which is where one major problem occurred.
Somebody
That
dropped
metal
some shit.
hospital bed. It was incredibly heavy on its own, and though it was designed to roll, its wheels kept getting caught on the tracks.
Of course.
And worst of all, it was set up horizontally, which essentially turned it into a barricade.
Like literally
Despite their best
stopping them.
efforts to save everything, their time was up, and as the camera continued rolling, the train would arrive.
I'm just going, at this point, fuck that damn bed, nigga. Like, what? Like, yo. I'm swanton bombing out of that bitch. I'm gone. I don't care about that fucking gurney, nigga. I don't care about none of that. I'm out of there. I'm gone. Run. Offer some fucking equipment, bro. I don't want to see this, bro. Bro, it's right there, nigga. Who cares about this shit? Just jump off.
At this moment, the train itself also had a camera rolling, which showed that even in those final moments, the crew was still trying to salvage their equipment. What happened next was a blur. Some were able to leap to safety, while others managed to jump to the side and cling onto the
I told you
bridge.
jump to that
But
side,
there
bro.
was still one thing that remained in the train's path.
That bed.
That hospital bed.
Oh my
which,
God.
upon impact, was torn to pieces. Pieces that were flung all over the area.
Of course. This is literally some. I knew it, bro. It's gonna be on some Final Destination bullshit, bro. It's some Final Destination shit. It's gonna hit that thing and it's gonna go. All the little metal pieces. I can just think. I don't even want to think about it. I
Striking
can just
multiple
know
crew
exactly where
members
them
and leaving
things.
many injured.
Mm.
But it was 27-year-old filming assistant Sarah Jones who was struck by the largest fragment, with a force so strong that it caused her to fall directly in front of the train.
Oh my
In total,
gosh.
7 crew members were hurt but alive, while Sarah Jones had tragically been killed.
R.I.P., bro. The one that didn't even.
On the very first day of
That's so
production,
sad.
in the very first shot,
The only one, bro?
happened. And when it came to passing the blame, most turned their attention to Randall Miller, as he was the one who ordered the scene to be shot.
And what did I tell you? What did I say at the beginning? You said you knew all the transits, you knew all the routes. They're gonna tie that shit back? Exactly.
Despite being denied permission numerous times, and this public disdain towards him,
And
all
they told
grew,
you not
as
to
he and his
film
production
on that
company
shit.
Denied any responsibility.
Let me get some shots in,
Instead,
guys. You got this.
blamed The railway company. Just 1 week after the incident,
Money
Randall
hungry
Miller
fucking
requested
companies.
a new permit to begin filming Knight Rider once again, asking if they can begin as soon as possible. This
People got no respect, no morals, no nothing, not even a heart.
however, would never actually happen,
Not even anything.
as he was instead arrested and given a 1-year prison sentence for manslaughter,
1
as
year.
well as a 10-year ban from directing any films.
10-year
a mandate
ban,
that
though.
He would actually go on to
No
break,
movies.
though he was swiftly forgiven, and today
No
he
movies
continues
for
to
10
direct.
years, though.
But while it's easy to focus on the morbid nature of this case and the man responsible for it, there was one
They didn't let that
unexpected
nigga
outcome
get
of
shit.
this horrific accident.
10 years is crazy.
Upon her passing, Sarah Jones' parents
You
set
should've
up a
been gone for
foundation
10
called
years.
Safety for Sarah, which pushed for safer working conditions on film sets, with the movement bringing to light a number of safety concerns that were often brushed.
And can we sit here? Because this, I know this definitely should bring up those shit that happened on, you know what? That site with you know who in that one movie. And she passed away because somebody fired a gun that wasn't supposed to be actually real and loaded. Yeah, that shit goes deep.
Aside and ignored. And all in all, their efforts have made
There needs to
TV
be
and
a
film
lot more
sets
safety on this film
significantly
set
safer,
shits.
giving their daughter a purpose even after her death.
That's so.
On top of this, Sarah Jones was also honored by countless production companies across the world, as crews
R.I.P.,
began
bro.
writing her name on their film slates, with there ultimately being over 2,000 of these tributes for her
R.I.P.
from some of the world's most well-known productions.
So that's
But by far the
Goosebumps
biggest
thing,
tribute
man.
was
Shout,
when she was honored at that year's Academy Awards.
shout out to
ceremony,
y'all, bro.
a stage that she always dreamed of making it to.
Man.
You saw her name up on the screen at the Academy
Man.
Awards. What were your feelings?
Overwhelming.
She made it to the academy. She made it.
That's so sad, bro.
I wanted to give one last quick shout out to Riley. It's the
Niggas
start
hit
of a
me
brand
with
new
some.
year, and if being
Niggas hit me with some sad ass shit, bro. We gotta change the shit around. And look, this is why I said we start off with the dark shit, bro. I gotta change my whole mood up, bro. That shit really just fucked me all up, man.